that of remuneration. For this, the court again considered the Constitution and in particular all public officers be directly payable from the Constitution, the Consolidated Fund, or out of monies provided payable to state of operations and parastatals are not drawn from the Consolidated the National Parliament. The court then had a decision and the review we still hold that the positions of chairpersons and members of boards of state corporations and Supreme Court Frederick Okeyo Outa, or Frederick Otieno Outa, Wajajari Dodoyo Okello, and 4 others, where the court stated that the proper meaning of public officer is that the person concerned is either a state officer or any other person who holds public office with the national government, county government, or public service, or a person holding such an office is sustained in terms of remuneration and benefit from the public exchequer. We see no reason to differ from that holding. We therefore find and hold that positions in parastatals and state corporations are not positions in public service. The second issue is who should make the appointments. This second issue was the petitioner's argument that commission, when they appointed the interest parties, it is a case that both the respondent and interest parties maintain that it is the president and cabinet secretaries who have the mandate to make a of the constitution is not exhaustive. In their view, national legislation grant additional authority to the appointment in question. We have considered the respective to make the appointments. Just like in the first issue, this issue was also determined in the Katiba Institute, and another was the Attorney General case we have stated about. We agree with that reasoning, and we have no difficulty in concluding appointments, parastatals, and state corporations can only be made by the President or Cabinet Secretary as contemplated by the respective statutes. We so hold with respect to this petition.
In that regard, petitioners argue that the provisions are unconstitutional because they permit the Section 33 of the Public Service Act. They further argue that the provisions also omit argue the provisions are inconsistent with the Constitution. The respondents are to the elected government deliver on the promises it makes to the public. It is their case, therefore, that the impugned provisions are not unconstitutional. We have considered this issue and the arguments for and against. The petitioner's case is that the provisions on the appointments contravene the Constitution for 2 reasons. First, that they provide for appointment by the President and Cabinet Secretaries, and second, that they do not provide for fair competition and merit as a basis for appointment, contrary to the Constitution. We must point out here that we have already determined on who should make the appointments. The only issue, the court has to go further and examine the effect of its implementation. If either its purpose or the effect of the Constitution as read in Section 10 of the Public Service Values and Principles Act. This is because the provision has to be read and construed with the alterations, adaptations, verifications, and exceptions necessary to bring it into conformity with the Constitution. This finding, therefore, applies to all the provisions enacted prior to the promulgation of the Constitution which have been challenged in this petition. For avoidance of doubt, the provisions are as follows. Section 6.1 and 6.1e of the State Corporations Act, Section 10.1e of the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, Paragraph 2H of the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital Board Order 1998, Section 9.1 of the Kenya Medical Training College Act, Section 3.2b of the National Cereals and Produce Board Act, and Section 5.2k of the Pest Control Products Board Act. Other provisions are Sections 5.1a and b of the Agricultural Development Corporation Act, Section 3.2 of the Housing Act, Section 7.1a and h of the Kenya Roads Board Act, Section 4A and F of the Kenya Railways Corporation Act, Section 4A and F of the Kenya Ports Authority Act, Section 41B of non-government, they should be of the opposite gender. They should not be public officers, employees or directors of any public company. They should be appointed by virtue of their knowledge and experience in matters relating to administration of scheme funds, actuarial science, insurance, accounting, and auditing or law. It is clear from the reading of that enacted after 2010 that have also been challenged in this petition on grounds that they do not comply with the constitutional provisions of Article 232 and Article 10 of the Constitution with regard to appointments. The provisions are as follows. Paragraph 41E of the Kenya, the issue of the constitutionality of the provisions, the critical issue here is whether the impugned appointments are unconstitutional. The petitioner's complaint is that the appointments were not made in compliance with the Constitution, the Public Officer Ethics Act, and Public Service Values and Principles Act. In particular, the petitioners argue that the appointments did not conform with the requirements of transparency, competition, and merit. The respondents and petitioners, interested parties, took the view that the appointments were made in accordance with constitutional dictates. According to them, the appointments were made in recognition of the need to observe the principles of public service and Article 232 of the Constitution, as emphasized in Mwongozo, which was intended to ensure that the management of state corporations is aligned with Articles 10, 73, and 232 of the Constitution, including the principles set out in Chapter 6 of the Constitution. We have carefully considered the arguments on this issue. The petitioner's case, as we understand it, is that the appointments were made without taking into account the principles of public service in Article 232 as read with Section 10 of the Public Service Values and Principles Act. In order to answer this issue, we turn to consider the relevant constitutional and statutory provisions. Article 232(1) of the Constitution contains values and principles of public service. These include, and we state, high standards of professional ethics, efficient, effective, and economic use of resources, Article 232, as read with Section 10 of the Public Service Values and Principles Act. The petitioner's argument is simple. It is that the appointments were not open, transparent, or based on merit. They also fault the appointments for not taking into account the requirements of accountability. The respondents and interested parties merely stated that the appointments were made on the basis of Article 132(4) of the Constitution and Mwongozo. Considering the respondents' arguments, it is clear to us that there was neither advertisement for vacancies nor were the interested parties subjected to interviews before being appointed. Without advertisement and subjecting the interested parties to interviews, it cannot be said that the requirements of competition and merit were complied with. Similarly, there was no demonstration that the requirements on gender, ethnicity, and persons with disabilities were complied with. The reading of Article 232 of the Constitution and Section 10 of the Public Service Values and Principles Act are clear that appointments in public service and state corporations should comply with the principles of public service. The respondents did not even attempt to show that there was any semblance of some form of transparency and accountability in the appointments. There was also no evidence of any form of competition prior to making the appointments. Without complying with transparency, fair competition, President and Cabinet Secretaries took into account the guidelines in Mwongozo, which provide for accountability. In their view, fair competition and merit should be considered in light of the deliberate and progressive reforms the government has undertaken for merit-based, inclusive, and competitive appointments. They urge the court to apply the principles of proportionality by considering the overarching effects of nullifying the appointments. They also urge the court to uphold the pleasure doctrine
a legal principle under English jurisprudence where persons hold office at the pleasure of the Crown. They further argue that the principle of rationality applies in this case. We are not persuaded by these arguments. Ours is a constitutional democracy, and every person must bear in mind the context and history of Article 232 of the Constitution. During the 2010 constitution making process, people gave views to the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission, CKRC, on how they wanted public appointments made. These views were captured in the CKRC final report, which were also contained in the Committee of Experts report, thus giving birth to Article 232. 7th of August 2010 ushered in a new regime of appointments to public office, whereas the past was characterized by open corruption, tribalism, nepotism, favoritism, scrapping the barrel, and political patronage. The new dispensation requires a break from the past. The Constitution signifies the end of, quote, jobs for the boys, close quote, era. Article 10 sets out the values and close quotes. We entirely agree with this statement, adopt it and apply it to the present case which is before us. The respondents had made similar arguments in Katiba Institute and another, was as Attorney General, that is the other case, that appointments had been made in compliance with Article 132(4) of the Constitution and the guidelines in Mwongozo. This was despite those appointments not having taken into account the requirements of Article 232 as read in Section 10 of the Public Service Values and Principles Act. Now, responding to that argument, this court stated, and I quote, or rather we quote, this argument, what is challenged is the process through which the appointments were made. They could not argue that the appointments complied with the Constitution. We must state, at the risk of repeating ourselves, that the people of Kenya desired that appointments be made in an open, transparent, and inclusive manner, taking into account the marginalized and people with disabilities. They deserve no less. They are entitled to their wish as a matter of right and not privilege. It is a constitutional compulsion, close quote. We are alive to Article 159(2) of the Constitution, which provides that in exercising judicial authority, courts and tribunals shall be guided by certain principles, including protecting and promoting constitutional principles and purposes. Further, Article 259 demands that the Constitution be interpreted in a manner that promotes, among others, constitutional and invalid. In the end, having considered the petition, the responses and submissions by parties, as well as the Constitution and the law, we make the following orders. So these are the release that we are giving. State corporations by the President and the Cabinet Secretaries on the 5th and 6th of June 2018, which were notified through Kenya Gazette Notice numbers 5569 to 5621 and 5622 to 5623 are unconstitutional to Articles 10 and 232 of the Constitution and are therefore invalid. B, a declaration is hereby made that paragraph 41E of the Kenya Leather Development Council Order 2011, Section 91A and G of the Forest Conservation and Management Act 2016, paragraph 61G of the Kenya Water Towers Agency Order 2012, Section 62A of Cancer Prevention and Control Act 2012, Section 51A and F of the Kenya Animal Genetic Resources Center Order 2011, Section 81D of the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service Act 2012, Section 131G of the Civil Aviation Act 2013, Section 61H of National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse Act 2012, Section 71A and D of the Kenya Deposit Insurance Act 2012, and Section 61A and G of the Kenya Trade Network Agency Order 2010, are inconsistent with Articles 10 and 232 of the Constitution and therefore invalid. C. An order is hereby made quashing all the appointments made by Kenya Gazette notice numbers 55, 69 to 56, 21 of June 5th, 2018 and numbers 56, 22 to 56, 23 of June 7th, 2018. And then D, this being a public interest litigation, the order we make as to cost is that each party shall bear their own cost of the petition. So dated today, 27th of May 2021.
Mr. Blake, and we
Yes? Somebody wanted to say something?
Yes, sorry, I'm saying we thank you for your decision. However, my instructions are to request for a 30-day period of stay of execution.
That is Mr. Karani.
Currently, yes. Yes, my instructions.
Ms. Morionzi?
Who appears for the second respondent?
Yes, it was.
The sentiments that were expressed on behalf of the petitioners, and our view is that the respondents should file a formal application in which they will show the grounds on which the application is made. This will enable the petitioners to respond and also will enable the court to make an informed ruling. So that is the
sorry, before we break the matter which is listed today again, it was to come after the judgment.